Welcome to Podtendo, a Nintendo podcast, where they analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We contacted, oh boy, no one ever contacts us. But if you were, what would you do? That's what, YouTube? Probably YouTube. I think I get emails about that, so check us out there. Unless you don't go on YouTube, email podtendo@gmail.com. I don't think I ever get emails. It's just where like billing for the podcast goes. Cool stuff. Talk about cool stuff like billing. Oh, can't wait. That's what we do on Podtendo. A review, retrospective, let's play pop culture show. We're talking about old games. I'm joined by a co-host named
Tyson.
And I'm Mick. Changes sometimes, see? It's not always the same. And today we're doing a thing. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I can't complain. Just living life here in podcast land, playing old Super Nintendo games, or N64 games, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it's never a bad day when you're playing an N64 game, I guess, unless it's a really bad one. But for the most part, we try to avoid those. And today is, I mean, I guess it. Yeah, I won't get. I'll save it.
Okay. No, that's cool. Yeah. So as the title alluded to, as you clicked on it, Bomberman 64. We jumped into this guy. If you're listening chronologically, I think we just did the N64 top 10 list. So that just came out, and this game actually did make my list. So we, like I said, I think we're getting to it right away. We dove into this game, so we're going to find out, is this game worthy of going on a top 10 list, or was my nostalgia blinding me? And I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have a mulligan on that one. So I'm really excited for our top 10, our 10th top 10 list, which is just going to be our top 10 regrets we have for making top 10 lists for the year.
Yes, it'd be a fantastic top 10 list of regrets.
Yeah, just like,
if we get there.
Shouldn't have got there. Like this one, what was I thinking, man? This sucks. But I don't think it was that bad. Bomberman, but I won't give all my cards away. Maybe it was terrible. It was developed by Hudson Soft. Name sounds familiar. Sales had 1 million copies sold. It was released December 3rd, 1997, at least in North America. How long to beat has this game at 3.5 to 8.5 hours. On eBay, a copy of this game goes for about $40 to $300 for an in-box graded copy. And I was like, that doesn't sound egregious.
No, that's a reasonable price for a graded copy of something. So, I mean...
Yeah, just based on that. And I'm like, the fact it's like a somewhat decent game with a recognizable IP from like a decent studio on a good console that people like to collect and buy, I was like, yeah, okay, that seems fair. Definitely worth it. So where to play, you have to unfortunately open your inbox graded copy if you do want to play it, or use an emulator like a dirty pirate. So it's a tough one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not on the Switch store, or not the Switch online.
Or they don't even have like collections of it, right? Like there's not even the Mega Man 3D collection or something on the Switch. Like in that case, we'd be like, no, go buy it. It's worth it there. But this is one of those, no, it's just kind of forgotten about. So if you do want to experience this part of your childhood, emulate it.
Yeah.
If Nintendo wanted your money.
Well, it makes sense. Yeah. I just looked up who is the parent company of Hudson Soft, and it's our good friends at Konami. So if I'm sure there's a Bomberman pachinko machine, but that's about it.
That's it. Yeah, there are. I bought one of those. But before we get into the weeds on Bomberman 64, guys, we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to jump into our patented Wayback Machine. It's our time travel device. Travel back to December 3rd, 1997, and find out, do we want to live there? and at least understand what the pop cultural landscape. Maybe we'll tickle some like old nostalgia things, and you're like, oh, I remember watching that on TV. So it was this year that this happened. Cool. So we're gonna start with our favorites, our top TV shows. So the top TV shows, at least that I think debuted in 1997, were ER, X-Files, Stargate, SG-1, Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Oz, and NYPD Blue.
Ah, cool. I mean, there's some, adult TV shows in here, but X-Files was always a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
The first couple of seasons were always weaker, but they're watchable. It's watchable. It's X-Files. It's not a bad thing to put on like a Sunday afternoon.
Exactly, for mainstream kind of sci-fi occult action, I'd get you there for sure. Top cartoons, we did see the release of South Park and King of the Hill. They're kind of like adult shows, but I don't know where to put those. So, but we do get, in terms of like little kids cartoons, we get Caillou, Franklin, Johnny Bravo, Daria, Recess, Pepper Ann, Men in Black, 101 Dalmatians, My Name is Alive, Extreme Ghostbusters, Freaky Stories, and Spawn.
Okay, so this is what I was spending most of my time watching.
I see. Freaky Stories.
I've watched, Freaky Stories, Spawn. You try to watch that late night at if someone had an HBO somewhere. Recess. I love me some Johnny Bravo. Obviously, the South Park King of the Hill is like top tier. But I seem to remember we watched a lot of the Men in Black cartoon. So. And Mummy's Alive, even though I think it was like one season and then dead.
And just dead. That's the thing. I'm like, I'm going to write this down because I've heard of it, but couldn't tell you anything about it. So, top movies. This week we get to see Good Will Hunting and Scream 2. Still in theaters was Battleship Troopers, Anastasia, The Jackal, Alien Resurrection, and Flubber.
Battleship Troopers, Mick?
Starship Troopers?
Yeah, Starship Troopers.
Okay.
You said Battleship.
Battleship. Yeah, like, the Star Wars Galactica.
Yep. Or the Trek of Wars.
Trek of Wars. Now, you're thinking of the Star Wars Trek, which is the great pilgrim of Star Wars fans to see something, not the Star Trek Wars, which is what ultimately destroyed the original cast. Yeah, something like that? Okay. Let's see.
Something like that.
And if we waited a week or two, so those ones, I was like, well, Anastasia. I definitely know they had a toy line at Burger King, and I ate lots of Burger King, so we had something. Maybe there was a cute bat or something, or a dog. Did she have a dog? Because I probably had like a plush animal of her dog.
I feel like there was both. There was like a Bartok or something.
Yeah, okay. The fact that the fact you just like out of your head, out of nowhere, pulled a Bartok. I'm like, okay, there's definitely a toy associated with this one. Now, if you waited a week or two, you could see Titanic. Tomorrow Never Dies, and As Good as It Gets. So, decent.
Oh, dang. Solid movies.
Yeah.
Like, actually really solid movies. Like, I'm truly impressed with this lineup, so.
Okay. All right, let's see if we can do it with...
Not too bad, 97. Not too bad.
So, I believe this was... This might have just been December of 97. All right, so top video games released. We got Sonic R, Tomb Raider 2, Diddy Kong Racing, Kirby's Dream Land 3, GTA, WCW versus NWO World Tour, Grandia, Mega Man Legends, Yoshi's Story, and Gran Turismo.
Okay, yeah, seriously, not bad, 97. This is like, you got some decent TV shows, solid cartoons, good movies, and some pretty good games mixed in there.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's an impressive. The good 97, you might be in a reason to go back there. So
it's up there. It's like that. There was one date, I remember it was like Mega Man X 94. We're like, man, awesome, great. But I think mainly because we mentioned the Pirates of Darkwater, and that's secretly one of those things that just like lives rent free in my head, and I think about once in a while, and I'm like, I should get into some Pirates of Darkwater lore. I know nothing about it other than there's like a weird monkey parrot toucan guy,
right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like darker, but also like very approachable. Kind of gave me like an Aladdin, but on the seas.
Exactly.
Vibe.
Yeah. What if the vast deserts were just oceans? Wow.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe it's one of those things where like maybe we need to watch a couple episodes for a future top 10 list, or who knows.
There you go. Yeah, that's something I want to jump into. So other than that, I don't know the other date exactly that was magical, but we have come up against one in the last little bit. So it's like 94. This 97 date. It's not bad. It's not up there. I love seeing future games mentioned. So all you Grandia heads out there, that's right. 12-part retrospective coming out next year. All day Grandia. Whoop, whoop.
Yep. And then we'll do a Suikoden right after that. Gosh. For all the Suikoden heads out there.
Like, I'll just buy a bunch of PS1 RPGs and I'll just torture myself playing a new one every month. And I'll just come on and I was like, it's the same. They're all the same game. Nothing's different. Why'd you guys... It's just the same guy. Spiky hair. Swords.
Yeah. Well, the good news is they're milking those old things, and they're just like, here, we did a remaster. It's like, aka, it's not blurry, and you can play it on a modern console.
I do see those occasionally, and I'm like, yeah, I could spend $75 a time. That's cool. There we go. Let's talk about spending money again. Awesome. Let's move on to the podcast. So, Bomberman 64. That's the pop cultural landscape it came out, and you're like, cool, awesome. So while I was eating Burger King and talking about Bartok, Bomberman was out. Awesome. Development details. After working on the game for about 6 months, the development team scrapped all their initial designs and started anew due to an emergence of the more advanced 3D games on the market. It was subsequently exhibited at the 1997 E3. This game is featured in full 3D, thus the directional control change. Cool.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, so Bomberman is able to walk in 8 directions with a rotating camera facing in 8 directions, and with 3 different zoom levels. The bombs really can zoom in this game. I don't know if I ever did that, because sometimes I was like, man, I can't see anything. I definitely should have zoomed out. His bombs have different effects than in other games in the series. The bomb explosions have kind of more of a spherical pattern rather than the traditional cross-shaped ones. In both single-player and multiplayer modes, Bomberman always has the ability to pick up, and throw bombs without the need of power-ups, as in previous games. A unique feature of this game is that Bomberman can pump a bomb up while holding it, which makes the bomb explosion more powerful. Okay.
Yeah, and bigger, and kind of crucial for some platforming if you feel so inclined.
Yeah, like unless you're just wanting the basic me playthrough, I'm just like, I'll just play through every level once. I never need to go back. Any secret finding is like, there's literally hidden techniques in this game. Maybe we'll get to it in controls if we don't get into it here, because I think that's maybe my next sentence. So a pumped up bomb cannot be kicked or picked up again. Unlike most platform games of its time, Bomberman cannot jump, nor can he swim in the water, although he can wade in shallow waters. Since Bomberman lacks the ability to jump, here we go, higher areas that do not have paths leading to them must be reached by bouncing across bombs. This is typically requires the remote power bomb to avoid the normally timed bombs exploding early. Bomb jumping is actually required to fully explore most levels, retrieve certain power-ups, and cross many obstacles. Cool. So, you know how you learn about that?
Watching YouTube.
Yep, because it doesn't exist apparently in the game manual. Anywhere in the game, it does not tell you about this technique. You're just supposed to kind of have fun playing the game, stumble upon it, find a magazine, hear from an older brother, find some kid on the playground, or wait till YouTube's a thing. And I was like, well, that explains why I could never beat this game and it seemed impossible as a child. So cool.
Yeah. I love when there's a secret technique, and there's different ways of doing it. Like there's sometimes you're gonna pump up a bomb or throw multiple bombs and you're kind of bounce across them. Then there's other times where you're gonna be like, you need to drop a bomb in front of you, then you need to throw a bomb, and then that bomb's gonna make you bounce and that's gonna shoot you backwards. There's some 5D chess happening here, and it's ugh.
Yeah.
I would have never ever figured these things out. I it's nice when games don't just flat out tell you everything, but god dang, give me one tutorial about these things so it kind of gets your brain thinking about it. But they just nah.
Or make it.
You're just gonna, if you make it to the end and you realize that you're oh, for some reason I got the bad ending. Why'd I get the bad ending?
Or make it simple. You have to do one bomb jump to get the first special item, and the second special item is the really hard challenge. But no, this game's just even get to the final level, you have to be doing all this stuff. And I'm like, what? That seems very hard. Very hard indeed. Yeah, no, it's a very archaic approach to game design, right? Making this kind of this very crucial skill essentially unlockable, and you just kind of have to figure it out. It is nice, but I don't know. It's also, yeah, like Tyson was saying, like the 5D chess. I don't even think 5D does it right. Like some of the bomb jumps. I was watching a couple speed runs to see, how does this game work? I don't know how anyone ever does this. Like the amount of bomb jumping and random, like stand on this one single pixel, drop a bomb, now bounce across these two, and then kind of bounce back, and then jump onto this other bomb so you can get to this other area, so you can drop these 3 more bombs, so you can make this platform to this next area. And I'm like, it is very, very, very complicated and hard. So cool. On every stage, though, there are 5 gold cards to collect, 100 in total. Once all cards have been collected, the player can unlock the secret world, Rainbow Palace. After all the gold cards have been collected, from there, an additional 20, making a grand total of 120 gold cards. The player unlocks more courses in multiplayer mode, plus the full power cheat option. This cheat activated, Bomberman starts with 5 bombs, 5 flares, power bombs, and remote bombs. Cool.
Yeah. Game Shark was the thing, so just why do this?
Yeah.
Why punish yourself, as it were?
The only benefit to collecting the gold coins is you do unlock kind of cute little items. So when there is a multiplayer mode, so you and 3 other friends can kind of play in these multi-tiered levels, there are not just like a killer mode, there's like challenges, who can hit the most spheres. There's some defense. They're kind of fun, but the best part about this game is when you get a gold card, you actually unlock, or you can unlock, different costumes, and you can dress your little Bomberman up as little costumes and play around. Now that doesn't work in there's like a newer version of the game. Apparently they've removed that function, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, if you have an original cart, you can play through all the game, get all these cute little costumes, and then play as your cute little guy against all your friends. So there you go. That's why you play Bomberman 64, right? Cute chicken costumes.
Yeah, well, I think that's like the solo and campaign in this game is like, it's there and you can play through it, but mostly we played a lot of this game just for the multiplayer.
Yeah.
So, because I specifically remember like playing a lot of multiplayer, and just the sound effects of that game, just the multiplayer alone, you're like, I have vivid memories of these sound effects. So
yeah, it's exactly, the blops, the poosh, that terrible horrific sound Bomberman makes when he dies into one of his own bombs and he's laying there twitching, and you're like, that's gonna make a different person when I grow up. Neat. Bomberman 64 received mixed reviews. Critics almost unanimously commented that in a reversal of the Bomberman series' most fundamental trends, the single player mode is much better than the multiplayer mode. Electronic considered the multiplayer mode outright problematic, remarking that the 3D format, which occasionally makes it difficult to see which character is doing what in the single player mode, is constant hassle in multiplayer mode. In my books, certain games should stay 2D, and the 3D or the Bomberman series is no exception. Huh. Cool. That was, I skipped over his name, Sean Smith. Okay. Neat. Cool.
Yeah. Well, EGM, I'm glad that you're guiding us with your infinite wisdom, and you'll always be around.
Well, I mean, that's also a snippet from the Wikipedia, and poorly written by a podcaster, so it's a watered down version of that take for sure. Yes, but no, even the critics came out at the time and they said it's problematic. I would agree with the same thing. I think for the most part this game looks really cute. The little chibi Bombermans are adorable. The game mechanics for the most part are decent, are good, but yeah, occasionally the camera is kind of wonky, but like it's kind of a function of the game and more of the system and the engine, and like, yeah, it gets better, but for what it is, I'm like, it's fine. I don't know if it's worth.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking back in hindsight, you're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
If I could see why at the time this game would be frustrating when they're like, well, but Mario 64 does this infinitely better.
Yeah.
And in this game, you're constantly like fighting with this top down. I mean, I think it's just a different style. Like, obviously, they're going for like this has a very like true feel of a Bomberman game, but in 3D, and I think they realized it quite well. So.
And like I think I played through every single stage, and the only stage I think multiplayer that had issues like camera angles there was one kind of, it's like a platforms on water stage, and it's one of the destroy the Carousel, And at one point, the crystal dropped behind some boxes and this like pillar, and I had no idea where my blue crystal was. Like, it was just gone. So it wasn't until the other team ended up destroying all their crystals that I was like, oh, it popped up behind here. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty terrible. So maybe that's what he's alluding to, right? If you played enough multiplayer, you might find more of those, especially in the like drop the crystal game. If it drops behind a pillar, then it's just gone, and you're like, that's silly. And I imagine that probably happened. So yeah, I could see that. Controls of this game. Is there anything that we didn't just cover in the development details? Kind of feel like that was.
Yeah. I think he covered almost all of it,
Yeah.
even like the Goofy's hidden techniques. I mean, I guess the only other thing is like in the multiplayers, you can kind of select your color of Bomberman,
Sure.
which I always thought was cool. And we all I think raced for the black, and whoever got the black was like, aha, I have the clear advantage, even though it's just all cosmetic.
Yeah,
I feel like we never played as the white one in that one.
Oh, no, absolutely. You definitely want to
Or-
be blue, black, like red is like the next one, but definitely not like the plain white guy is the most boring. Now I think of Bomberman, I'm like, oh, the white one is definitely like the iconic. That's the guy you want. So it's funny how your kind of tastes change. But I did allude to that when I was mentioning the costumes, right? That you can kind of unlock and play and how it is more colorful. But yeah, even just as simple as palette swaps, right? That's what we had back in the day. And we were like, oh boy, 3 colors. It's not going to be this boring old white guy.
Yep.
Look,
we lived for that stuff.
I'm unique.
That was the dreams.
I wear the Zora's tunic all the time when I'm playing Ocarina of Time.
I still know people that do that.
Yeah. And I was like, I see. Look, he's got a different colored hat now. All right, cool. So first memories of Bomberman 64. I know my friend had it. Played it a ton. Played lots of multiplayer. Played through the storyline a few times as a kid. Right, I don't know if I was ever super successful. Not that I was super successful this playthrough as well, but in those times. But there was definitely a cartridge. Like someone had a cartridge, maybe rented it. You know, it's one of those like Rogers Videos cartridge you play, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, somebody completed this game 100%. So I did once as a playthrough on a weekend, a couple hours, playthrough of all the other end levels too, right? Fight the end boss, lose obviously, but get to kind of explore, and that was a lot of fun. And just kind of that peek behind the curtains. That's like the one thing you're missing now with digital, you know, proprietaries and everything's like logged to your profile, is you never get the experience of popping in a cartridge and being like, oh, this game's complete.
Yep. Somebody spent the time and mastered this game, and you're like, wonder who they are. Wonder who this person was. But yeah, this is to me is like the Blockbuster Rogers Video, rent it for like a weekend or 7 days, whatever it was, and just like have some pizza, have some friends over, and add this in the rotation of games where you play it until you get sick and tired of it. I feel like it was always play a couple of rounds of multiplayer and then be like, okay, I'm over this. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah,
sweet. First memories, yeah. Other than that, it stayed with me though. Like I kind of mentioned in the top 10 list that we just did. It's fun. It's cute. I think it's for the most part fairly solid. The biggest, not that I have to get in the first memories, right? But once you kind of just give into the controls and you're like, it's not the tightest, it's not the cleanest. You have to take your time. It's not as fluid. It's pretty passable. I'm like, okay, cool. Nothing's too tainted. Nothing is too tainted. Story mode. Unless you want to say something else. No, you're good.
yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, okay. All right, story mode. So, in the game's opening sequence, a peaceful-looking planet with gardens, rivers, and residential buildings abound is shown, with this building being the World Blue Resort. And then the space pirate, Artemis, drops from the sky with a band of soldiers to raid the planet. Altair, the leader of the space pirates, watches from the Black Fortress using his coveted weapon, the Omni Cube, to completely drain the planet's energy, condemning it to a zombie-like state. Artemis returns to the Black Fortress to help meet up with her partner, fellow pirate Orion and Regulus, and their superior, Altair. Together, they set their sights on the next target, Planet Bomber, home of the protagonist, Bomberman. They maneuver their fortress into the atmosphere of Planet Bomber. Bomberman, from atop a cliff, observes the Black Fortress descending. For much later, the fortress begins to open fire on the people of Planet Bomber, firing their destructive energy ray into the populated areas. A warrior clad in white then flies out to surprise Bomberman and ask if he plans to defend the assaults. Bomberman gives an affirmative response, and the stranger later introduces as Sirius explains that a force field protects the fortress from any outside attack. Sirius goes on to say that they must destroy the Green Gardens and the Blue Resort and the Fire Mountain and the White Glacier. Then they'll be able to get to the fortress and defeat Altar. The game starts. Yay. I never knew that was... I didn't know there was a story until just now. So
Neither did I. I was like, wow, there's a lot going on in this game that I just
they'll have
completely spaced on.
That's so funny. You know what? I'll be honest with you. As a kid, I definitely knew that the one Bomberman who had like the little visor, the bad guy, was definitely named Regulus. As soon as I saw that, I was like, so maybe you fight Regulus at some point? But that name jumped out. I was like, Orion, Regulus. Or just as kids, we were like dialed into the lore. So you had got the game manual and you were like diving through and you're like, look how cool this guy is. He has a round head also, but he has like a visor. So he's the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I seem to like remember the one buddy who has the wings and is like turns into a jet or whatever. It's like, I remember like I was being suspicious of him as a kid. So I feel like I had some of the story spoiled, or somebody knew how the story went and was just like,
somehow he's bad. That definitely was what I was like, Sirius is the bad guy, right? What? How you say this thing? All right, so now into the level notes, which is kind of our Let's Play section of the podcast. We start off in Green Garden. So the first area of this level sees us fairly going through the stage through a dragon head to find a crystal. Then we fight a mini-boss who is Sirius. He wants to test our skills. The third stage sees us chasing a little bird through a fortress. And finally, the boss here is the Green Dragon. You have to battle the dragon as he flies around on a little bridge. Any of those levels do anything for you? Do you want to go through them each one by one, or you're just like, just talk about the parts we liked? Anything you liked in the first level? Parts you liked or things you enjoyed?
I mean, I think it just kind of like sets it up pretty well, where you can kind of be like, I mean, I think it was fine. Like for the opening kind of area, I watched a Let's Play on how to like collect all the
gold coins. Yeah.
Gold coins, and I was like, apparently the first couple levels are really tricky. But just like playing through them, like they're fine. Kind of gets you a feel for like just playing the game or whatever. I mean, I always thought it was pretty solid. I definitely didn't mind it. And I always had a decent time with it. I think that the boss is kind of the most interesting thing, like the green dragon flying around. It's a little bit hard to hit, and if you're trying to get the gold cards or whatever, it's like you have to like blow up his arm and then his tail, and then there's like a bunch of like specific things you have to do, and there's always like a timed portion of it. But luckily, unlike like a Banjo-Kazooie where you have to do it all in one run, if you miss something like the timing, you could just like rip through it and quickly just grab that one if you were so inclined.
That's super handy.
Yeah, I appreciate that at least.
Cool. The first level, super basic, very easy. Basically, just walk forward, right? Like unless you're exploring or finding stuff, just straight ahead. Go grab the crystal. Done. Yay. Hooray. The third level, a little bit more interesting. As you go to grab the crystal, a bird keeps stealing it and taking it in different locations. It kind of makes you run around the level, and you kind of have to figure out little patterns. And there's like a bridge at one point you destroy, and there's like a kind of door and a teleporter you can open. But if you destroy it at the right time, you can't get across where the crystal is. So there's like different levels or different areas to the level that have to be destroyed in sequences. There's like little platforms you can throw like bombs under these platforms, run up onto the decks, and they kind of shoot you up in the air and launch you. That's kind of a cool mechanic, right? There's no fall damage, so it's just kind of a good safe area to explore. And then Green Dragon, oh my god, the bosses in this game, I don't know if I beat a single boss. I got to every single boss and then was just like, it's like the hardest thing. I almost would get the Green Dragon, and then it's like one hit and I'm dead and I die, and I was like, oh my gosh, every time. So that was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. No, they were, and cause it's also kind of hard to like figure out where you are. Like I can see where a lot of people are like, man, something should stay 2D, because you're like, it's hard to like figure out depth or where you're at or where you are in relation to something else.
Well, it's just so like, because the game is so static, there's no real timing, and it's kind of, you work at your own pace. And if you want to destroy all the enemies, they move really slow, and then you get to the bosses. and they're super dynamic, and you have to run around, and you have to know how to jump and throw bombs, and you have to do this, and your timing has to be impeccable, because if you don't throw the big bomb, you're like doing almost no damage, but then you're so slow, and like you're more critical to hits. It's just like a real drag. And I'm like, and I tried multiple times, and I watched videos of people would beat them, and I was like, I'm doing something obviously wrong. Like, I wasn't grasping the mechanic in the slightest. So bosses, I played the first 4 levels I could talk about, and then I can tell you I kind of remember on the other ones, but in terms of the bosses, I'm like, it just was too hard, and I didn't have the time, and I didn't put forth like more than an hour to maybe 2 hours into this whole playthrough. So had I done more, maybe I could have got through them, but for what it is, I'm like, I'm good. Just like I was good to go to the Blue Resort. So in the first area, we run around. It sees us at a resort. We drain a fountain. We lower a drawbridge. The second area, we have to fight a blue guy. Maybe we'll call him Orion. He has force fields. He's pretty cool. Orion has a belt. Maybe not force fields. I don't know. The third area sees us continue to climb up through the resort, through the garden. And then finally, we have to fight a fish on like a floating raft. So it's pretty cool. So Blue Resort.
Yeah. Definitely like, green, blue, and then there's a red, then there's a white. So it's like, hey, the colors of the characters that you can select. So I think it's kind of like neat. I love the mini bosses. I mean, they're hard and they're tricky. And even like this darn fish where like I can never. I always felt like I kept falling off the edge somehow.
Yep.
But it's it's such is life. Such is life. You just kind of you live and learn, as it were. So but.
So on that note, the boss very difficult. Apparently, if you throw like big pumped up bombs just kind of in his general direction, eventually you do damage. And I was like, oh, he shows no indication he's taking damage. That's awesome. Cool. Thanks, game. But the mini bosses, I really liked them. I thought the one-on-one battles with like the Bomberman adjacent that had super power-ups and all you do is like kind of have your bomb powers. I was like, that's fun. That's cool. I mean, I'm into this. I like those battles. Like the 3 battles we go, I thought those stood out above. And like in terms of combat, that's where the Bomberman combat should be. It shouldn't be dynamic and run around through the fire blast and avoid him swooping in and trying to attack you, or the fish coming and like throwing his giant tail at you, because that was like too much. But I thought these battles, like the little mini bosses, excellent. Every single one of them was just like, I was like, this is the kind of combat, right? So in terms of that combat exploration, I thought that they did that well, at least. So I'm not completely, it's just the bosses. I'm like, well, you guys were very, very ambitious when you made this.
Yeah. I feel like it's almost like too much. So, but it it is what it is. I think it's you definitely got a lot of variety, but it's also like just unnecessarily hard in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
Well, and just like, man,
I found that
this game can get frustrating.
The first area, you're kind of running around, you don't know where to go. You find out that if you throw a bomb at a kind of a drawbridge, it like knocks it down. That gives you access to an upper area, and then essentially at that point, you just have to survive some big target or some turrets, some more enemies, drain the water, lower a drawbridge, you're off. Third area, I remember climbing and it not being that difficult. It was like challenging in a puzzle, but I think at one point you blow up like a slidey wall, and then the wall slides over and fills up like a fountain. So adds to a drain. So that was Blue Resort. Red Mountain. This area was fun. So the first area, we're exploring around a lava-themed kind of volcano. Then we fight a guy who shoots lots of bombs. The third stage sees us there some train tracks. Those were kind of cute because it was like the classic train track sounds. It's kind of the chugga-chugga as they fly around. You have to lower some switches or throw some bombs on some switches to lower a gate. And then finally we fight a big mech who runs around an area and he sits in lava.
Yeah. Pretty cool little area. I mean, it's got some funky, like the train's kind of cool, and there's like lots of different areas to kind of get your way through. And there's times where you're like, if I jump off this cliff, can I land on that ledge? Mm-hmm. And you try it and it works, and then you're like, I'm a genius. Whereas you're like, I'm really just scratching the surface of the mechanics of this game. But level is always fun when you're not taking heat damage or anything stupid like that. So I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, for this one, the first area, I was good. It was a good challenge. I got through it, and I was like, I feel smart. I even found the little remote bomb target, right? Found that guy. I think I was able to get through it mostly unscathed. Mini boss, outstanding part of this. I was like, excellent. They should have just had this. Is what the boss should have been, a harder version or 2 bosses, something like that. Just chaos. That's what you want. So it makes it feel like you're playing multiplayer, like the fun part of these games. Third part, I kind of like the train tracks. The end puzzle where you're throwing switches, I actually don't even know how I completed it. I know I was able to get 1 or 2 of the switches done, but like the third switch seemed like it was like almost too far. I no concept. I kind of know what the room looks like. I'm not sure how to end it. So if you were like, come in here for help, and you're like, oh, maybe he can help me play that third stage. No, I can't. You just have to figure it out. And then obviously the mech boss was like impossible. And at some point you're supposed to stun him, and there's like a little guy inside controlling the mech, and you throw a bomb inside, and I'm like, oh man, you want me to like do a lot of stuff, game, eh? You want me to do a lot of stuff. Like go to the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not like straight, not like simple, like, oh, here's this really easy thing to do. It's like, no, here's like this complicated.
I kind of feel like this is going to just be the take of the podcast, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I thought the platforming, exploration levels was great. Mini bosses were top notch. That was like my favorite part. And the bosses were terrible, so.
Yeah, the bosses are definitely unforgiving in a heck of a lot of ways. So, but for the platforming and running around, actually a lot of fun. Had a good little blast with that, and then you'd come to a boss and you're just like, time to struggle. So
no, it's not fun. Potentially the next level though might be the most interactive, most fun. I don't know, most memorable. Anyways, I thought I had a good time. White Glaciers, the first area we kind of explore a snowy level, make an avalanche, we go up a ski lift to continue up the mountain. On the second area, we fight a guy who does something. That's great. He obviously was very noteworthy. This mini boss was great. Third area, we're in a ski hill. We have to climb up the slopes, fight against the wind, and blow up a little ski shack, hit a button so we can get up to the top, where we fight a big blue spider boss. And I ran around and I dropped a bunch of bombs. And I think what you have to do is pick up and throw the bomb. But then the timing was always off. And like sometimes I'd like get hit by the fire and die. And I was like, bosses, they're just the best. But the other levels, not bad. Like making the avalanche at the beginning. I once got caught in the avalanche. I don't know if that happened to you.
Yeah. No, that was. I think this is one of my favorite parts of the entire game. Where you're just like,
there's this big wall of snow.
Warning! Don't.
You drop a bomb, and you're like, what's gonna happen? And it just starts going down, and you're like, ah! And then you get pushed off the cliff edge, and you're like, I see. Okay.
Yeah. But that's like so much fun. I think like this is one of the like a few snow levels and icy levels like done so well. It's like. And it's a ski resort. Like this is so much fun. It's like I feel like you're doing avalanche control, but you clearly do it the wrong way, and all of a sudden you're just like swept away with
so funny.
It's delightful.
Yeah.
It's got a good sense of humor to it. Like this game, like even though there's not like a lot of dialogue or whatever, it's like this is fun. Uh-huh. This is cute. It's enjoyable, and it's just goofy. So I had a lot of fun with it.
Something. Where was I going to go with this? Oh, I think things if you blow up an object and you die and like return to the level, the object still stays blown up. There was one part where like the little ski shack that you have to destroy the walls and make it collapse and then walk over and hit the switch. I dropped a bunch of bombs, got stuck, blew it up, died, but it was able to like unlock the ski shack. So my next time down, I walked over the roof and I was like, oh, okay, neat, cool. So at least if you complete a challenging puzzle, you just have to kind of like get back to that point. So they are somewhat forgiving at this point, right? However, when you beat all 4 bosses, you move on to what's the next color, everyone? Black Fortress. The first stage here, this is like a futuristic highway / factory area. Then you have to fight a floating tank. So I didn't play him, but it looked kind of fun. And the third stage sees us battle through a heavily fortified base with a bunch of little lifts. And you step on the lift and it would take you to an area and you walk around on these little tiny platforms and you go to the next area. And it seemed like a big maze. And I was like, I'm kind of glad I gave up at this point. And then you fight Altair, the bad guy. He's the boss of this area, and he has a little black drone, and you beat him, and you save your planet. Hooray.
Yep. And yet, then you get a cutscene of it, like, everything's still kind of in chaos. And you're like, well, this is definitely not the good ending. But I feel like this is the ending that most people got, because if you aren't going out of your way to collect all those darn gold cards, and 100's too many. Like, just give me like 1 per level or something. Yep. Like 100's too many. And then you go to the Rainbow Castle and you need another 20. And you're just like, game, please.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
So yeah, essentially now you've beat the game once. To get 100%, like Tyson alluded to, what do you have to do? You have to find all 5 gold coins in each level. Actually, sorry, it's 4. Then you have to complete the level a second time under a certain time limit to get the 5th one. So you have to play through the game twice. And the second time, it's a time attack. So that's fun. That's really fun. Really, really fun. But you unlock Rainbow Castle. The first level seemed like, again, if you didn't have a guide and weren't an expert at bomb bouncing, I don't know how you do some of these challenges to get more gold coins. Like, it's silly.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah. The second stage had...
And there's times where, like, I was watching the one playthrough, and it's like, if you just throw that bomb the wrong way and it just goes, like, you have to almost be standing in this exact position, so when it falls off, because it's going to fall off, it will land on you, and you're just like, game, my goodness, like, this is ruthless.
Yeah. No, it's just, I don't understand. It's just one of those pains, right? So it's one of those, like, this game's just too tough for me. Like, maybe if it was the only game I had, bought it, $60, want to spend months playing it, yeah, definitely you could figure this stuff out, and you'd want to take the time. And I think it's enjoyable enough that you'd probably go for these challenges, but just for a casual, it's, like, way, way too difficult. So, yeah. Let's see. First stage... Rainbow Castle, lots of bomb bouncing, okay, cool. Mini boss, nothing. I have nothing written down. The second stage has a lot of switches that need to be activated, so you have to be pretty in control of your bomb jumping. Oh yeah, this is like the crazy platforming bomb area, and I was like, I don't think I could ever do this, even with a lot of practice. And then finally you fight Sirius, because apparently he was Altair's, like, rival, but he's also super strong, and he was gonna, like, take over Planet Bomber afterwards, but then you stop him, and now everything's okay.
Yeah, it's all gonna be a-okay, everybody, even though it's like kind of like that one guy who was suspicious of, and you're like, I was justified in my suspicion. This guy did come off as very sketchy. So yep, it's definitely like I mean, I like all the different characters. I get lost in the name, Altair, blah blah blah. It's like there's too many A names. You need to mix this up.
Yeah, no, certainly.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, I mean, I think you beat the one black character, and then the white guy is, like, comes for revenge, because I feel like we've already fought him once, and now we gotta fight him again, but he's, like, stronger. It's like
yeah, you have, like, 2 endings of the game, right? So you have one, not that Tyson, you were telling us everything that happened, but I think you were kind of lost in the sauce a little bit. Bad ending is
I was.
You defeat the bad guy, and the white guy just flies in afterwards, and he's like, oh, well, it looks like no one's leaving. And you're like, okay. So the game just continues. Neat. The good ending is while you're fighting Sirius, the white guy at the end, he does something, and Regulus, Ryan, one of the, like, the extra blue Bomberman, one of the bad henchmen, shows up to kind of give you an assistance, and if you do defeat him, I think maybe Altair shows up, or, like, he has flying drone shows in and, like, destroys Altair or Sirius's like, he has, like, a big gun or something, destroys his wings. Anyways, you defeat him, the white guy. He's with help with the other guy, and you save Planet Bomber, and you get the same credits as the bad ending, except they're happy now, I guess. So you get the happy ending.
Yes.
And, like, that's it. You're like, oh, so I just get a different credit roll. That's it. Well, and someday you get to return this card to Blockbuster, and some kid will be like, wow. That's it. That's all you. It's not very beneficial to do this.
Yeah, no, this one's one of those ones where, like, you just play through it. Don't go to 100% it. I don't see the value in 100%ing it.
No, don't.
Just, like, watch somebody, if you really care that much, watch a Let's Play or a speed run at this game doing 100%, because there's people who actually, like, spent the time and have memorized all the separate bomb locations, because, like, we haven't done it justice, but, like, if the bombs are off by, like, a pixel, good luck. Because you're just going to fall off the edge, and that entire level is going to be a waste in some of those, like, later levels. So you're just like, just play the game and just get to the end, get the bad ending. Who cares? Oh, it's not like there's, like, not like your save carries over to the next Bomberman game.
Does it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha. Yeah, no. And yeah, we definitely could have been more harsh and critical. Like some of the reviews that I also had written down, I was like, I don't need to read it, right? But we get the gist. It wasn't the best critically received. It could be frustrating. It's hard. I watched The Completionist. I haven't watched The Completionist in like literally years, and he was playing Bomberman, and I was like, okay, yeah, cool. He's like, oh man, I love this game. It was awesome. I had so many childish memories. And he's like, trying to 100% it. I hate this game. It's awful. It's a terrible game. And I was like, I kind of feel like that'd be the experience, right? Like I got to a point where I was just like, no, I'm frustrated. I can't win anymore. I'm good. I'll walk away, right? So I think that's kind of how you have to treat this experience. Is it's going to be a short experience. It's not going to be great, but it's kind of fun. And what did I play it with multiplayer with some friends? Maybe, right? Like again, other games. Did it belong on my top 10 list? Probably, right? In terms of maybe I may lower it just a hair. Wait,
but it's still a fine game.
As I say that, I just want to see where it was because maybe it was low. Oh,
maybe it's number 10.
I had it at 9, so maybe I would move it back to 10 and put Mega Man 64 ahead of it. So, okay.
Yeah, well, I think of it like this: like this game's fine. Like not going for 100%. I think this game's better than like a Gex Enter the Gecko or something like Gex 64 or something like that. Like because that game's just frustrating to like run around in. This game's fun to run around with, and like when you're solving puzzles or whatever, and even some of the boss battles aren't that bad, but they are frustrating.
Oh, exactly. Like Gex has a jump button, and the platforming might be as bad as Bomberman, who has platforming without a jump button. So yeah, more or less. Cool. Sweet. So that is Bomberman 64, everyone. Current thoughts! So this game has a pretty solid multiplayer. I actually played through it because you can set CPUs and kind of have little battles just by yourself. I played through a couple. Not terrible. Adventure mode is fun to play. Bosses are insanely hard, and completing the game is insanely difficult. So, yeah, they basically nailed it. So, about current thoughts, Tyson. Do you have any new insight that just popped in your brain and you're like, there, look at that. I said it.
No, I think you kind of nailed it. Like, multiplayer is fun. Adventure mode's pretty fun, but, like, it can be really hard and difficult, and if you're going to complete it, it's just like impossible in my mind. I don't have the patience for these things unless I'm like saves coming like a bastard using an emulator. Like I couldn't imagine using a cartridge and trying to beat this game. Like to me, it just like the frustration levels would hit 11 and it would take me months to beat this because I would just be like play it for like 15 minutes and be like, okay, I'm done, and turn it off.
I don't know. I feel like if you had like Tomb Raider, this game, and hold on, what's another games that came out? Because was it one of the Tomb Raiders?
Tomb Raider 2.
Tomb Raider 2. And let's see, what else? Like WCW versus NWO. It's a fine game. But I feel like at some point you might be like, Bomberman 64 is not... I could put some time into this. I'm going to do this. Okay, cool.
Or even like a Sonic R, you'd be like...
Yeah.
Completing a race sucks. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to play Bomberman.
Nothing else. So what would we change? What would I change? What would you change? How about a platforming tutorial of some sort? Okay. Nowhere in the game or the manual does it describe how to do this. Like, have a character just do it. Have the first level, a black Bomberman or blue Bomberman or red, some guy, I don't know, he's just like throwing a bomb and then jumping over a little thing. And you're like, oh, neat. And that's it. That's all you have to do is just show a character doing this. You're like, oh, neat.
Yeah, very much so. Or even like if you just like leave it, or that's have it run in the demo or something.
Exactly. We showed you on the screen. Look, you can do it here. That's such an easy answer. I would honestly rethink the whole bosses that you made. Like I would make more battles, make more interesting battles. That's the best part. Make more battles. I think I bought Bomberman R or something on the Switch. It was like really cheap. And playing through it, and yeah, similar structure. I mean, most of them are like battles or puzzle levels, but like old traditional grid style Bomberman, and then the final level is like a boss fight. And I'm like, this is what I want. Just more boss fights where you're going around and throw bombs at each other, not throwing and pumping them up and trying to get, you burnt the left wing, so you get a gold star. I don't want that. So that's probably what I'd change. Would you change anything?
Yeah, you kind of nailed it with the what to change. Like the give us an actual like tutorial of the bomb jumping, or have somebody discuss it at some point, so you're not just guessing or randomly come across it 20 odd years later and you're like, oh, that's how you do this. Well, that's complicated, and I wish that they would have just told me how to do it. But it's also like, you know, it is what it is for the most part. It's an N64 game. Sure, the boss battles are a bit more clunky. I wish that there was more like adventure stuff. Like the avalanche level, that was fun. That's cute. Give me more of like interactive things in the levels.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, oh, you threw a bomb. We got to pump up a bomb and throw it at this bridge, and then it blows up, and then the bridge falls down. Isn't that interactive? And you're like, not really. Because if you just like kick a bomb towards it, that doesn't work. You just lay a bomb next to it, that doesn't work. You have to pump it up and then throw it and have it blow up in the air, and you're like, I miss that avalanche moment. Like, that's the best moment of the game. I just wish there was more moments like that, because it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Sweet. So let's see. With that, that's it. We're done. I've got a quick cultural significance for us, and then we can get out of here. And then we've got, what are we coming with? I think next show technically is actually our end of our 9-year, start of our 10th season. So we don't really allude to it, but as we're talking about best Xbox/PlayStation 1 games, we do kind of allude. I think that's going to be kind of our anniversary show, and then we'll have like a bigger celebration on our 50th episode. So our 150th. This is 149. So our month's time, we're going to be having kind of our 150th big show. Have a bit of a celebration there. But you guys don't know all that, so cultural significance. Then we'll get out of here. That sounds good. Yeah, makes sense. Awesome, sweet. In this section, we look at game design. We do other stuff. We never do anything that I read, but I'll read the whole thing. Lore inspiration, starting points, interesting stories. Talk about this game relates, give other examples, and tie it all back together in the end. So, ready for this?
I'm ready.
Cool. Awesome. Today, we're looking at Hudson Soft. Something jumped out, guys. While I was writing these notes, I remember turning on this game, and this logo popped up, and I was like, why do I know you? Why does Hudson Soft, why does that name stand out? It was attached to a good memory, a pleasant experience, or maybe a false positive memory that was covering up some past trauma. So let's go inside my brain with a list of Hudson Soft games and see kind of what effect it has on my robot brain. Well, that's a fun game.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So we're going to jump into 1983 and look at the original Bomberman. Did you ever play Bomberman on like an old PC where you get like different keys, or somebody has like different parts of the keyboard? You're like, this is me and I get to be this part, and you'd play this. We did that when I was like in grade like 13 or something, like 13, 14. Ages, not grades. I didn't go to grade 14.
Yes, I was going to say, I'm like, grade 14. What school did you go to? Yeah, no, I remember installing this on like an old PC or whatever, because that's kind of like what our potato PC could play. So I remember just like screwing around with it, because like someone had the WASD, someone had the arrow keys.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome, sweet. From there, though, we go to 1985, and they were responsible for several games. So some of the games we played on this podcast, some that you just like, I've heard of or no. We got Excite Bike, golf, ice climbers, and tennis.
Okay, yeah. So some good variety.
Yeah.
Some frustrating games. Looking at you, Excite Bike, being like, yes, Excite Bike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that was, nothing special there. On the vein of old tennis and golfs, I randomly remembered that, and I found that I had Switch Sports, and it's just Wii Sports. You know what's awesome? Wii Sports. Like playing tennis, you have to jump up and like swing and like, or even play bowling or something like that. It's like a different feeling, and it plays so well. It's so responsive because the Switch controllers are the best Wii controllers, right, that we've had. Like essentially the optimal version of what they were going for. Makes for a very fun experience. I don't know, like Switch Sports. If you're out there looking for a game to play, get Switch Sports. Get up once in a while, play some tennis, jump around, and you'll be like, oh wow, this is kind of like a good little exercise. That's fun.
Yeah, I could see how it'd be a really good time. I mean, I always I don't mind the Wii Sports games. They do it for me.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
It literally. I was playing the other night when my wife came home. She's, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just playing this like best of 5 against this like hard computer, like putting me to the test here. And I was just literally just being like, this takes me back to college when the Wii came out, playing this with all your family members and stuff. And I was like, what a cool, fun experience. And now that was a while ago, guys. That was like almost 20 years. So it's kind of nostalgic. So it's definitely one of those things. If you ever see it, it's fun. Maybe check it out. Let's go from there. We go to 1995. That had nothing to do with Hudson Soft, but I thought I'd give a plug for Wii Sports, or Switch Sports, whatever you want to call it. 1995, we get SWAT Cats for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, fun. Who doesn't love some SWAT cats?
I don't know much about the SWAT cats, but I do know I had this game, and it was quite enjoyable. It was one of those games where there was like 4 levels to select from. There was trouble all over the city. You had to go fight the slug guys in the sewers, or the slug guys at the construction site, or go into the lab and fight the electric slug guys. You had different weapons. You had to select through them, and most of the times, you barely get through the first screen or two and die. That was the gaming experience when you were a kid. One day I did, however, sit down and was able to beat and get fairly. I think I completed a whole section, got like partway through the second section before I kind of ran out of material, ran out of lives. And it was one of those. I was like, if I went back now, would it be a fun game? Because as a kid, I did pretty well. So am I a more experienced gamer, a more mature gamer? Can I step in, understand the concepts, beat this game? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. It always makes you wonder because it is it was a tricky game.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I think remember that run of you just like crushing it. And like we ended up kind of like, hey, well, you play this level first, then you get a couple extra lives, then you play this level, and then you get to that like the flying level, and you got to fly into like the stomach of that one worm that was attacking the ship, and you're like, okay, I got past this level finally. It was just like it was a good time.
Yeah, no, and it was one of those. There's different guns, like there was a web gun, and if you kind of figure how to use select and like what the shoot button was correctly and how to store your ammo, you could like take down some of the bigger enemies. It was an okay experience. Again, one of those ones, if you want kind of like classic retro, what does a Super Nintendo feel like for the most part? Feel like one of those like, play this for a little while, and you'd be like, I'm frustrated. Like, exactly. So maybe at some point we'll get to that. Maybe one day. 1998, and then essentially onward with Mario Party. So why does Hudson Soft give you warm, fond feelings? Probably because it is associated with at least the original 3 Mario Parties on the N64, and potentially even the future titles.
Yeah, and I seem to remember they were pretty solid. I have a soft spot for the Mario Party franchise as a whole, but it's also like one of those ones where you're like, yeah. Obviously, they knew kind of what they were doing to make it work, and Hudson Soft, like they had some magic back in the good old days. So you know what, I tip my hat off to them. They obviously, like, there's some hits and misses, like SWAT Cats isn't the greatest, but like Mario Party is a pretty solid game. So it was always impressive when you kind of come across a developer and you're like, I wonder, like, obviously it was different character, different like developers, different designers, whatever. It's like, they did some interesting things, and they also did some not so interesting things. So you're like, was it certain people on the team? Like, who worked on this that brought the magic when it needed to? So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's had up and downs of the series, but yeah, just in terms of like general, the first couple Mario Parties were just revelations, right? It was kind of a fun board game that just had like chaos, tons of fun little mini games, party games, right? It was one of the guys that did it best. I just played the newest Mario Party before jumping onto this. Me and my wife had played Mario Party Jamboree. And I was like, that was a pretty fun experience. We laughed, we chuckled, some silly things happened along the way, right? And you're like, yeah, in terms of, it was long. Like 10 terms took us an hour and a half. And I was like, that's a little egregious. It should be closer to an hour, right? Because like so much stuff happens in every turn, and it's very streamlined at this point, right? It's just pleasant. It's fun to kind of go through. And those first Mario Parties did that for children, right? Like that was a big part of sleepovers, was playing a Mario Party, even though, like, I imagine we all had the horrors of playing like a 30-turn, 4-hour-long sludge through like Bowser's Castle, where like the high guy has like 3 coins and like 10, or 10 coins and like 3 stars type thing, and you're like, man, what are we doing to ourselves? This is just grueling. So the fact that this company essentially is associated with this cultural, Mario Party is a pretty big part of our culture, right? In terms of cultural significance, gaming culture, Mario Party comes out, and even the most, I don't know, seems like they're too cool for school Call of Duty gamers are like, oh yeah, girlfriend played Mario Party this weekend or something. You're like, okay, cool. So it's just kind of a catch-all. Old people can play it, young people can play it, gamers can play it. Yeah, so no, that's kind of neat that they were involved in that series, right?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, gotta give credit where credit is due. Obviously, they had some hits, and it all kind of started out from one little man who threw some bombs.
Yeah.
So
Sweet. And then finally,
respect.
2002 was Digimon Rumble Arena. I don't know if I played this one, but I probably saw it because Pokemon was always cool, and you were like, Digimon is like Pokemon, but it's not like it. But if only they made a Digimon game that was just like the Pokemon game, so I could just play Pokemon, but with my Digimon games, that's what I want. And I almost guarantee that Digimon Rumble Arena was nothing like Pokemon, so...
Yeah, I'm looking at some pictures right now, and I'm like, kind of gives me like some Smash Bros vibes.
Okay. Oh, that might be fun. Okay.
I'm like, you know what? That might actually be a really solid idea. Again, Hudson Soft. You know, I'm continually impressed with you guys. You're doing interesting things, and I respect it. So.
Oh, sure, yeah. It's like just like just a fighting game. Okay. Huh. Yeah. I mean,
Right?
That's probably a good use of, if you're not going to make a better game, just let me fight as Digimon. That's perfect. They probably have some type of transformation or Digivolve. Is that what it's called? Digivolve?
Yes, you Digivolve. Yeah.
Because Pokemon evolve, so they Digivolve. Okay.
Yeah, because everything's a Digi. There's a Digivice. There's
okay.
Digimon. There's
Cool.
Well, it's always got Digi in it.
Guys, I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty thankful that the end of my psychological journey ended us talking about a little bit Digimon, a little bit of SWAT Cats, a little bit of whatever we talked about there, and then Mario Party. So it wasn't too jarring, and we didn't do some type of like immense damage to myself or listeners. More importantly, probably the listeners and myself, because I'm already too far gone. But I'm glad we kind of jumped through that guy, went through that, and that's a podcast. Look at that. We just crossed the hour mark. We did lots of padding. That was a fast game, and that's good. Did we miss anything? You want to say anything else? Or you're just like, I'm done?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
But 97, not a bad year. Bomberman 64, not a bad game.
Ew.
Bad game if you're trying to 100% it, but not a bad game.
When I heard you just say 97, I was like, no, it wasn't that long ago. It was 1997. Ugh. It's gross.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
One day someone's going to be like, hey, remember when you were born in the 1900s? How old are you? And you're going to be like, damn it. Damn it.
The answer is very old.
Yeah, like you could sit in that. You could literally go to work and be like, "Oh, we've got these this team of 5 new people, and they're all 24-year-olds," and you're like, "Ah, cool." And like, you have to listen to me because I was born in the 1900s, and they're gonna be like, "Are you the oldest man?"
It's like, are you the guy from Invincible? Like, how does this work?
Oh.
How are you still alive?
Oh, that's just...
Are your bones in one piece? Like, what is it? Just dust that keeps you together?
Yeah, constantly drinking milk so you don't just decay. That's unfortunate. Cool. Well, from 2 guys born in the 1900s, that was a Podtendo. That was a podcast. Talked about a game. We're back. I already told you. Literally the schedule. Just hopefully you had a better memory than I do. So till then, we'll say bye. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Yep. See you then.
Bye.